Thank you, Mataji. Can you start?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Shall we get started then? Okay. Kirtida Mataji is not in the meeting. We'll start once Mataji joins.
Can we have the introductions, please?
Sure, Mataji. Yeah. I'll go ahead, Mataji. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai. Thank you all dear devotees for joining today. And I'd like to welcome you to the Sri Caitanya Bhagavat Adi Khanda class by Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji today. Please let me know who all have joined the call so we can greet you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Indulaka Mataji, Dandrat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, Dandrat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your wonderful association every single day, Mataji. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, and thank you for your very valuable association. Hare Krishna, Priti Vilasini Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for hosting this wonderful session and for your very valuable association.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida Sundari Dasi.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to your wonderful services, Mataji. Thank you so much for gracing this forum, Mataji, and for your valuable presence. We're looking forward to your class. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for allowing me to attend.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to all assembled devotees. This Shashida joining from Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shashidhar Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining, and we missed your chanting today, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Oh, Mataji, I joined for chanting today.
Prabhuji was chanting.
Okay. I didn't hear after 9:45, so I joined only late, so thank you. No, thank you, Prabhuji. So sorry about that. Shall we get started, Mataji? It's 10:01.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Indu Mataji, you can read Prabhupada's quote.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Mataji, let me. Okay, sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we will be having the Sri Caitanya Bhagavat class, Adi Khanda, verse 119 onwards by Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. And Mataji, I'll have to find the quote for today, Mataji. Do you have it, Mataji? Please hold on. So sorry. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Nothing is opening now. So sorry. Let's see.
That's okay.
Mataji. Okay. Yes,
Okay,
Mataji.
I can read. I
I
have the.
only have yesterday's quote. Yeah.
I have. Today is December 8th. We are not enemies of machines. If they can be used for Krishna's service, then we welcome them. Letter to Kirtanananda, December 8, 1968. So Prabhupada is stressing on Yukta Vairagya, that we are not enemies of machines, but anything that is used for Krishna's service, we welcome them. Utility is the principle. So thank you so much, Indu Mataji, for your
Thank you so much.
welcome.
Thank you, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji, for everything. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Indulekha Mataji, for your very, very warm welcome. And thank you everyone for joining us today and sharing your valuable time. So let's get started. Today, the class may go a little longer because there are a couple of verses that we have planned to cover. And Krishna willing, Mahaprabhu willing, we try to cover. So it will go a little longer, but please bear with me. I'll try to cover in 1 hour, but even if it goes longer, so just bear it. Okay, so without any further delay, we'll get started with our pranam mantras, with our Manglacharam. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vaivacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Vishnu padaya Krishna prasthaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guruve Gaura Chandrai Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Maha Krishna Prema Padaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste, Chaitanya Chandraya Namaste, Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Ajanulambita bhujanau kanakavadhatau sankirtanaikapitaro kamalayatakshav Vishwambharau Dvijavarau Yugadharmapalau Vande Jagatpriyakarau Karunavatarau Jayati Jayati Deva Krishna Chaitanya Chandra Jayati Jayati Kirti Stasya Nitya Pavitra Jayati Jayati Bhritya Stasya Vishveshwamurter Jayati Jayati Nrityam Tasya Sarva Priyanam Mukam Karoti Vachalum Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripahatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So again, as a beggar, I seek all of your blessings, your prayers, your heartfelt wishes. Please bestow all of them in abundance so that I can speak something relevant to this subject matter. So I bow down to each and every one of you. Please bless me. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrindi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai. So we are in the section of Chaitanya Bhagavat. We are still on Adi Khanda, chapter number 14. So we'll just see where are we. Just a quick 5 minutes recap and then we'll proceed for today's verses. So we are in the section where the time was shifted towards Navadvip and the disappearance of Mother of Lakshmi Priya was being described and how Mother Sachi was totally devastated and was drowned in the ocean of separation from her daughter-in-law. And our Nimai, he has gone to East Bengal for preaching, for teaching purposes, not preaching, for teaching the students of Sanskrit grammar. So now, Vrindavan Das Thakur moves his focus from Navadvip to East Bengal, that how Mahaprabhu was performing his scholastic pastimes. And then Mahaprabhu, the time came when he has to bid farewell to all his students and he has to come back to Navadvip. And then Vrindavan Das Thakur describes how the students, out of their overwhelmed love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is the best scholar in Sanskrit and best teacher in Sanskrit, very, very scholarly. So how all the students, they brought a lot of gifts in, to show their love for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And finally, some of the students, they also requested that they want to accompany Mahaprabhu to Navadvip for further studies. And during that time, yesterday we saw in class of His Grace Haripashad Prabhu, that how it's been described that there was one Brahmana, right? Yes, there was one Brahmana, his name was Tapana Mishra, was described that how he arrived there in East Bengal. And actually the description was given, yesterday we went in detail, that how he was very, very disturbed. He was not peaceful, even though he was chanting his Krishna mantra day and night with full absorption, but still he was not peaceful at his heart. And it's been described that he was not just a Karmakhandi Brahmana, he was a Saragrahi Brahmana, a swan-like Brahmana, very, very knowledgeable, very, very expert. And he was chanting in his Krishna mantra, but then he was still not satisfied. And he was confused of his goal. People used to ask him, you are chanting, you are doing all this, you are chanting your Krishna, your Ishtadeva mantra, but still you are not satisfied. After all, what is the goal of life? What is the goal of life? And what are the means to attain that goal of life? So, he was not able to answer all these questions and he was very, very confused himself that what is the sadhya and what is the sadhana. And then, he could not achieve peace. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the purport actually revealed that why he could not feel peace at heart was because he was not following the Yoga Dharma of Kali Yuga, which is the Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name. We all know that how Srila Rupa Goswami established 64 limbs of bhakti in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. But the 5 important limbs, what Rupa Goswami describes as Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, Bhagavata Shravana, Mathura Vasa, Shri Murtaya, Shraddhaya Sevana. That we have to perform these 5 limbs, and if we are not, these are the basic 5 limbs. But out of this, Bhajanera Madhya Shrestha Navavidha Bhakti, in performing any kind of devotional service, there are 9 prescribed methods. We all know about that, starting from Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, so and so forth. But Krishna Prema, Krishna Dite, Tare Mahashakti, that, we have to perform these 9 processes of bhakti. Either one, we can focus on Ekanga Bhakti, or we can perform all the 9 processes of bhakti like Ambarish Maharaj, because only then we can have that Krishna Prem, we can have that ecstatic love for Krishna. So Bhajanera Madhya Shrestha Navavidha Bhakti, Krishna Prema, Krishna Dite, Dhare Mahashakti. But Tara Madhya Sarva Shrestha, among all these 9 processes of Navavidha Bhakti, Tara Madhya Sarva Shrestha is Nama Sankirtana. And that too, just do's doesn't work. When we go to a doctor, we have to follow some do's and don'ts. Only then we'll be cured. So do's is, yes, Tara Madhya Sarva Shrestha Nama Sankirtan, that we have to perform, always chant the holy name of the Supreme Lord. But the don't is Nirapradhe Nam Lai Bhaya Premadhan, that it has to be without any offenses. Because if we are performing offenses in taking Krishna's name, then also we will not be able to achieve Krishna Prem. Bahujanma Karayadi Shravana Kirtana Tabutana Pahe Krishna Pade Premadhana. No matter for lifetime after lifetime, if we keep on chanting Krishna's holy name, but if we are performing any offenses, then we will not attain the ultimate goal of chanting. So what is the Yuga Dharma of this age is Nama Sankirtana. Nama Venu Kali Kale Nahi Ara Dharma. Sarva Mantra, Sarva Nama, Ei Shastra Narma. That in this age of Kali, there is no other religious principle except from chanting the holy name. And it is Sarva Mantra, Saranama, and Ei Shastra Marma. All the Shastras very, loudly they proclaim that Sarva Mantra, Saranam, is everything is the essence is to chant Krishna's name. Chanting of the holy name is the essence of all the verdict of the Shastras. So we have to follow this. And because our Tapan Mishra, our Brahmana, he was not performing this Nama Sankirtan, therefore he was not peaceful at his heart. He was still agitated. So now we will move on from text number 119, 119, and we'll see what happens next. How even Mahaprabhu guides him. Actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur reveals this in the purport, that he was not peaceful in his heart because he was not performing his Nam Sankirtan. But it will be further described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So we'll hear his wonderful, glorious words directly from the mouth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that one should perform Nam Sankirtan if one has to attain perfection in one's sadhana. So, Bhavite Chintate Eka Dina Ratri Sheshe Suswapna Dekhila Dveja Nija Bhagyavashe. So, this way he was very, very disturbed. While disturbed in this way? Which way? Because he was not able to come to the level where he can understand what is my sadhana and what is my sadhya. What is my goal, ultimate goal, what is my sadhya, and how we have to achieve, what are the means to achieve that sadhya, what is the sadhana, what is the process. He was not able to understand. So he was very disturbed. But when he was disturbed, Suswapne Dekhila, very beautiful dream, very auspicious dream. Swapna is dream, but Suswapna means auspicious dream. So he saw that auspicious dream. And who saw it? Bhagyavasha, that fortunate Brahmana, because of the fortune that he had, he saw a very auspicious dream. So what dream he saw? Sammukhe ashiya eka deva murti mana bhramera kahe gupta charitra akhyana. So what he saw in his dream, that a demigod appeared before the Brahmana, Tapan Mishra, and he began to tell Gupta Charitra Akhyan. He started telling that confidential topics. And what topics, what confidential topics he told? Shuna shuna ohe dvija parma shudhira chinta na kariha aramana karasthira. The demigod, first of all, he consoled this Tapan Mishra, this Brahmana, and he said, "Oh Brahmana, please listen to me. First of all, Chinta na kariyara, don't be worried, and manasthira, just steady your mind, focus your mind, and do not worry." And then he gives the solution. Nimaye pandita pasha karaha gamana teho kahi bena toma sadhaya sadhana. So he said, that demigod who appeared in the dream of Brahmana Tapan Mishra, he said, Nimaye Pandita Pasha, go to Nimaye Pandit, uske paas jao, go to him, go to Nimaye Pandit. Karaha Gamana, go to him. Teho kahi bena toma sadhya sadhana. And when you go to him, only then you will be explained by him that what is the sadhya, what is the goal of life, and what is the sadhana, what are the means of attaining that goal of life. So you go to him, he will explain you in detail. And then that demigod said, Manushya na hena tenu nara narayana nara rupe lila tara jagat karana. And don't think that Nimai Pandit is a mere mortal soul, or he is just an ordinary soul, or is a conditioned soul. No, he is Nara Narayan himself. He is Sakshat Bhagavan. And he Nara Rupa Leela, though he has come in this world to perform his Narvat Leela, human-like pastime. He is not a human being, but he has come in this world to perform his human-like pastimes. And for what? Tare Jagata Karan, to liberate all the people in this entire world. And then the demigod continued, Veda Gopya Esa Kala Nakahi Bekare Kahile Pai Be Dukha Janma Janmantare. So he warned Tapan Mishra that don't disclose this fact. The fact that I am disclosing you, that Nimai Pandit is not an ordinary human being. He is Narayan himself, and he has come to perform his human-like pastimes to deliver the people of this world. This fact, don't disclose it to anyone. This information is confidential even to the Vedas. Even the Vedas doesn't describe about Mahaprabhu coming as Kali Yuga avatar. Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna avatar, it has been described. It's not written that Kali Kale Nimai Rupa or Mahaprabhu Rupa. No, Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna avatar. But this Nam Rupa who is distributing freely on the streets is our dear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is distributing freely on the streets of this entire world. In this regard, I just remembered how Lochan Das Thakur, in his Chaitanya Mangal, he very beautifully describes Nama Guna Sankirtana Vaishnavera Shakti Prakasha Kariba Ami Nija Prema Bhakti. Lochan Das Thakur says that Mahaprabhu himself, before coming down to this material world, he told his Parshads that, chanting the name and the qualities of Krishna is actually Vaishnavara Shakti, is actually the life and energy of the Vaishnavas. And when I come down, I will reveal these activities and regenerate the pure devotional service unto my own self, because he is Krishna himself who is coming in the mood of Srimati Radharani. And then he says, Eva Nama Sankirtana Tikshana Khadagalaya Antara Asura Jivera Pheliva Katiya. Very beautifully, Mahaprabhu said that I will, with this sharp sword of that congregational chanting of the holy name, what I will do is, I will root out I will uproot all the anarthas in the heart of the people, and I will give them Krishna Prem. I will take out the demoniac mentality. In other yogas, I have killed the demons. But in this yoga, I'll not kill the demons, but I will kill their demonic propensity. And, question may be asked, what if some people just run away from you? They don't come near you. Then how will you liberate them? Then Lochan Das Thakur very beautifully describes, Yadi papi chadma dharma dure desha jai, mora sena pakti bhakta yai beta thai. That if some sinful people, giving up those dharma, those religious principles, they go to different countries, they migrate to different countries. People like us who have migrated India and have come to this Western world, then Mora Senapati Bhakta, then my commander-in-chief will come and will give them Krishna consciousness. And here we can see that, yes, Mahaprabhu's commander-in-chief, our dear Srila Prabhupada, has come and has given this Krishna Bhakti, this Krishna Prem, this Krishna consciousness to each and every one of us. And now, when Srila Prabhupada left this movement in our hands, so we should try to see that now the ball is in our court. Everything lies on our shoulder. We who are the followers of Srila Prabhupada, we are Prabhupada Anugas, right? If we claim ourselves to be the followers of Prabhupada, then we have this responsibility to distribute this Krishna Prem, to distribute this Nama Sankirtan to each and every home, in every town and in every village. The responsibility lies on us now. So it's up to us whether we want to become an instrument in this movement or not. Things will happen. Predictions will come true, because these are predictions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is non-different from Lord Shri Krishna. So these predictions will come true, but now it's up to us whether we want to become an instrument in this or not. So anyways, coming back to our the purport, the verse that we were reading, that demigod warned Tapan Mishra that this is very, very confidential, even to the Vedas. So the Vedas also have this, they also don't disclose that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come. He comes as a Channa avatar, right? And if somehow you disclose this fact openly, then you say, Dukkha Janma Janmantare, then you will be unhappy. Life after life, birth after birth, you will be unhappy. So Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, he writes, the words Veda Gopya indicate that the confidential purports of the Vedas never manifest to the ordinary person, but these confidential purports manifest only in the heart of one who is an actual follower of the descending process, or one who follows an acharya. How important it is. That's why it says, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. This transcendental knowledge gets revealed in the heart. Why? Because it's a descending process. It's not an ascending process where you join some college or universities and you study and then you know about Krishna and, you get to know about the pastimes of Krishna, about his Janma, Karma, Chame, Divyam. That's not possible. Why? This is not an ascending process where you can gain that knowledge from some so-called material universities. Some knowledge you can get, but ultimately the real knowledge has to get revealed in the heart of the devotees. If that knowledge, and how that knowledge is revealed? Only through a parampara. Sampradaya Vihina ye mantras te nisfala mata, that the knowledge of the Supreme Lord is obtained only through a disciplic succession. If that disciplic succession is not there, then it is not possible to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it has to come from a parampara. It has to come from Guru. So when Guru bestows from one to another, to another, to another, so how this is descending process, this knowledge gets come down and then it is revealed in the heart of a devotee who is very fertile. Very fertile means very, very faithful. Have full faith in the words of the Acharya. Only then this knowledge is revealed. So anyways, after this, telling all this to Tapan Mishra, Antardhana Haila Deva Brahmana Jagila Suswapna Dekhiya Vipra Khandi Te Lagila. That demigod, he disappeared. Antardhan, he disappeared, and Finally, the Brahmana, he woke up from his sleep. So Tapan Mishra, he woke up from his sleep. And after seeing this very suswapna, very auspicious dream, he began to cry. Kandi te lagila. He began to cry. And these tears are the tears of happiness, because how he was thinking that I'm so fortunate that I have been longing for this, and now this demigod has appeared and gave me the way, showed me the way that I should go to Nimai Pandit. So he was thinking himself to be very, very fortunate. Aho bhagyamani punha chetana paiya. As soon as he comes to his chetana, is his consciousness, because when he was in a dream, right? So when he woke up, it takes time for one to come out from that dream stage, especially when you are seeing such beautiful dream. So when you come to that conscious stage, at that time he was thinking, oh wow, aho bhagyam, I'm so fortunate, I'm so fortunate. What a good luck. Then he immediately left. Seshane, immediately he left Chalirina Prabhu Dehiya. He went to see the Supreme Lord. Vashiya achene yatha Shri Gaura Sundara Shishya Gana Sati Sahita Parama Manohara Ashiya Padila Vipra Prabhura Charane Jode Haste Dandilya Savara Sadane. So when he went to see Mahaprabhu, what Mahaprabhu was doing? Vashiya Achena, Mahaprabhu was sitting. Yatha Shri Gaura Sundara, our Gaur Sundar, he was sitting with whom? With his Shishya Gana, with his disciples he was sitting. Where? On the bank of Padmavati river. And Parama Manohara, and he was looking very effulgent, very, very beautiful. And as soon as Tapan Mishra saw Mahaprabhu, Ashiya Padila Vipra Prabhura Charane, immediately he paid his prostrated obeisances. He fell like a danda. He performed a dandavat pranams to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ashiya Padila Vipra Prabhura Charane. He just fell at the feet of Mahaprabhu. Joda Haste Dandila Savara Sadane. And when he got up, he folded his hand. Joda Haste, he with folded hands he got up, and then he prayed to Mahaprabhu. What he said? Vipra bole ami ati dina hina jana kripa drishte kara mora samsara mochana. Vipra bole. So above we are seeing that he was thinking that how fortunate he was. Aho bhagyam. Right? He was feeling so fortunate that the demigod has appeared and he saw this beautiful auspicious dream, and that demigod showed him the way to understand the answers, the answers he had, like what is his sadhana, what is the sadhya. He showed him some way that go to Nimai Pandit and he will tell you. So in that time he was thinking himself that he is very fortunate. But after coming to Mahaprabhu, he took such a humble position and he's saying, Vipra bole, ami ati dina hina jana. I'm such a fallen, wretched soul. Kripa drishte kara, please deliver me by giving your kripa drishti, by giving your merciful glance, mora samsara vochana, so that I can get rid of this samsara, get rid of this cycle of birth and death. So please give your merciful glance, your kripa kataksh, give me that kripa kataksh so that I can be delivered from this samsara. And then he asked his question. Sadhya sadhana tatva kichu na jani kripa kari ami prati kahiba apani. Then he said, I'm such an ignorant person, I'm such a deen hina person that I don't know what is the goal of my life and the means for attaining this goal of life. Therefore, please kindly explain this to me. So in this regard, it's very important that when we are also doing our sadhana, we should be very, very clear of our prayojan, that what is the ultimate goal of my life, why I am doing this and where I am heading to. If we don't have the destination in our mind, then no matter how much car we drove, we can drove for hours and hours and hours. But if we don't have the destination in our mind, all that will be fruitless. So the sadhana that we are doing, we should, it's very important to have a sambandha gyan, because we should know, what sambandha I have with Krishna. And then comes the abhidaya, that is the sadhana process. That, okay, this is what my aim is, this is my aim, this is my Ishtadev, this is the relationship that I want to establish. And here is the process. But I have to keep in mind that what is my prayojan? What is where I'm going to land to, where I am heading to, whether I'm really heading to Vaikuntha Bhav or Goloka Bhav, and in that Goloka Bhav, which Bhav I am heading to. So that prayojan, the ultimate goal of one's life, it has to be very, very clear. Now, it's not that, the moment you start your journey, your spiritual journey, and immediately, it has to come and it has to be very crystal clear. No, that's not the case. But an idea should be there that I am heading to Golok Vrindavan. That is my aim. That is my aim. That is my goal. And then, slowly and slowly we should try to work on it. So even he was saying that I'm so ignorant of the goal of life. This goal of life is very, very important. We should really have a goal of our life. And then we can work on the means for attaining it. So he said that sadhya sadhana tatva kichu na jani. I don't know anything about the sadhya and the sadhana, that why I'm chanting this Krishna mantra, what is the aim of my life, what is the goal of my life. So kripa kari ama prati kahi bapani. So you please explain me by giving your mercy glance, by giving your kripa drishti. You please explain me that what is the sadhya and what is the sadhana. And then Tapan Mishra says, Vishayadi sukha mora chitta nahi bhaya, kisha juda be prana kaha daya maya. I don't find any pleasure in material sense enjoyment. Vishaya adi sukha mora chitta nahi bhaya. So he says that I don't find any pleasure in material sense enjoyment. So he's making himself very, very clear that I am the right candidate where, I can focus on my sadhya and I can focus on my sadhana. Because till the time we are on the two boats, when we think that, okay, this is my material boat, this is my spiritual boat. When we are on these two boats, then it's very hard to cover the distance, because when one leg is on our material boat and one leg is on a spiritual boat, how long you can go? You cannot. You'll fall down, right? So we have to make ourselves very, very clear that if we are heading towards our spiritual growth, then we have to cut down our material growth as far as possible. Our material propensities should cut down. It's not that it goes hand in hand. No, it doesn't go hand in hand. So we have to cut down our material sense gratification if we are really, a sure shot of having the spiritual progress in our life. If we have chosen a spiritual path, then we have to come out from that material path. Both of them doesn't go hand in hand. That's an illusion. People says we have to make a balance between our material life and a spiritual life. Well, there is no such called material life and a spiritual life. For a sadhaka, all the material things also get spiritualized. Why? Because they see everything in context for Krishna consciousness. They keep Krishna in the center, and then they do all the other things which looks like a material from outsiders, for outsiders from an outside purview, but actually it is Krishna conscious. Why? Because everything revolves around Krishna. So anything that revolves around Krishna, how can it be material? So there is no such thing calling like material life and spiritual life and maintaining a balance. Everything becomes spiritual. Any activity we do is become spiritual. We are not seeing Bollywood movies that we say, okay, I have to maintain my material and spiritual life. 5 days, okay, I'm doing my Krishna consciousness. Friday night is also okay, I'm doing Bhakti Riksha. But at least Saturday I can have myself. I can spend some family time seeing some Bollywood movies. Well, then if you are in that boat, if you have that mindset, if you have that concept of life, then yes, you have to maintain that material and spiritual. because you are making a distinction between a material life and spiritual life. But for a sadhaka who is already on the path of spirituality, he doesn't think that anything is material. For him, anything material is already spiritualized by keeping Krishna in the center. So we have to give our material sense enjoyment. Only then we become the right patra, the right eligibility of attaining that spirituality. Only then, the spiritual knowledge will be revealed in the heart. Otherwise, till the time we are on those two boats, it will be a very, it will be a bumpy ride. It's not going to be a smooth ride. And it's very much chances are there that either we have to totally be on the material boat, then it's okay. Then still you will be able to cross. Maybe it takes lifetimes after lifetimes, but eventually through the process, we can come. But, or we have to jump into the spiritual altogether. Only then we'll be able to cross it. Otherwise, it's 99% chance that we'll fall down if we have two legs on two different boats, right? So what our Nimai says. So now from here onwards, our Nimai is, the words are all by Nimai, by our Gaura Sundar. So we have to really focus on his words, because these instructions, what he gives to Tapana Mishra, are also the instructions for us who are reading this Chaitanya Bhagavata. Prabhu bole, what he says. Prabhu bole viprato mara bhagyara yei katha Krishna bhaji bare chaha sei sarvatha. So what Prabhu said, Prabhu bole, Mahaprabhu, our Nimai Pandit, he said, O Vipra, O Brahmana, what can be said about your good fortune? Tumara bhagyara ki katha. What can I say about your good fortune? Krishna bhaji bare chaha. You have been worshipping Krishna. Remember, yesterday's class, we were discussing that how he was chanting Krishna mantra. Day and night, Ratri Dine, he was chanting Krishna mantra. But he says, say ye sarvatha. That is quite sufficient, because that brings you to be on the eligibility point of understanding your sadhya and sadhana. Right? That prerequisites are required, right? So this is a prerequisite. He said, you are already such a pious Brahmana. What good fortune I can talk about you? You are such a fortunate soul. Brahmande Brahmite Bhagya. Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagya Jiva. Guru Krishna Prasade by Bhakti Lata Bija. That after roaming around in 14 planetary systems, there is one fortunate soul who understands, who puts this question to himself or herself, oneself, that, who am I? What is the purpose of my life? And then Guru Prasade Krishna, Bhakti Lata Bija. And then by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, he gets that seed of devotional service. And then finally, he has to nourish that seed by watering it, right? And by fencing it. So the point is that Mahaprabhu is saying that what I can tell you about good fortune, because you were already worshipping Krishna, though he was not chanting Nama Sankirtan, he was not doing Nama Sankirtan, but he was chanting Krishna mantra, his Ishta Deva mantra he was chanting, and that was quite sufficient for him to come on to the level to understand what is my sadhya and sadhana and how I can achieve it. Ishwara bhajana ati durgama apara yoga dharma sthapiya che kariya prachara. Now Mahaprabhu is saying worship of the Supreme Lord is, however, is difficult to achieve. It is very, very difficult. But the Lord himself personally teaches the principles of religion for this age. So to understand Krishna, it's very difficult to understand Krishna. But if Krishna wants that a such and such person should understand him, then what's the problem? Immediately that person will know about Krishna. So when Krishna becomes merciful, then he can reveal it to everybody. Just like Mahaprabhu, when he came as Krishna, at that time when Krishna is there in Dwapar Yuga, at that time he performed his activities and went back. But there he didn't teach anybody about the purpose of life or the goal of life, right? But then when Krishna comes as Mahaprabhu, he basically opened his treasure house, his swabhakti, his own bhakti, he's coming in the form of a bhakta as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if Krishna wants, he can bestow. So he says the Lord personally comes and teaches what? Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma, he established the Yuga Dharma. And then Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur in his purport writes, I have highlighted it, devotional service to the Lord is an extremely incomprehensible subject. Yes, it is very, very difficult. But somebody can say, well, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says it is Sulabha. Bhakti is Sulabha. Yes, Bhakti is Sulabha for those who have the knowledge of performing it. Till the time we don't have the knowledge how to perform this devotional service is a very cumbersome process. It is extremely comprehensible subject. Because who the Lord is, who the servants is, often these questions bewildered the conditioned souls. And being maddened with pride, the conditioned souls always consider themselves to be the supreme, and thus they desire profit, adoration, and distinction from others. But those who possess the opposite mood of no adoration, no Kanaka Kamini Kirti, the opposite mood of non-duplicitous, of humility, of surrender, then they are glorious, because then they become the right vessel to achieve Krishna Prem. Only such pious souls engage in the process of devotional service, and they neither exhibit any interest in their own sense gratification, nor do they accept worship from others. So no adoration, they amanina manadena. They are always free from this man, apaman, honor and dishonor, and all these pride. They don't consider all this, right? And they don't exhibit their interest in all this, and they only worship the Supreme Lord, and they don't desire worship from others. So in order to liberate these fallen conditioned souls from their excessive anarthas, the Supreme Lord and his devotees preach topics of the Lord from time to time. And as a result, the Yuga Dharma, or the Dharma of the age, is established. Right? He says he teaches the principles of religion of the age. So every age has its own way through which we can have Atma Sakshatkar, through which we can become self-realized. And what is the different processes of different age? That Saraswati Thakur explains in the purport. Kriyate yad dhayato vishnum trayatanam yajoto makhe dwapare paricharan kalo tad dhari kirtanat. That in Satya Yoga, krite yad, in Satya Yoga, dhayato Vishnu, we have to meditate. People used to meditate for years and years and years. They used to meditate on Supreme Lord Vishnu. And why they could able to meditate? Because the environment was conducive, the longevity of the life was high. So they could able to sit at one place and they could meditate for thousands and thousands of years. Right? They can sit at one place. So that was how they become self-realized. They perform such kind of austerities in Satya Yoga. But in Treta Yoga, what happened? Trayatanam yajato makhe. In Trayatanam, performing sacrifices becomes the Yuga Dharma. That one performs sacrifices. And Dwapare Paricharayanam. In Dwapar, serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, means the deity worship becomes the Yuga Dharma. But in Kali Yuga, Kalau Tadhari Kirtanat. But in Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the Krishna Mahamantra, one becomes self-realized. So the only Yoga Dharma for this age of Kali is congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And that's what Krishna comes to establish a Yoga Dharma. So Supreme Lord Shri Krishna Caitanya established the superiority of Nam Sankirtan over the three processes, that is meditation, sacrifice, and deity worship, of the above three ages, that is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga. So it is to be understood that those who do not accept the glories of Krishna Sankirtan, then they have never heard topics of pure devotional service to the Lord. So how important it is that we should have interest in Krishna Nama Sankirtan, Krishna Sankirtan, because this is actually the Yoga Dharma. If we don't follow this process, then we don't have to expect any fruitful results out of it. So if we want the results, then we have to follow the process. So when we are in this Yuga, Kali Yuga, the process is given in our Shastras, that is Nama Sankirtan. So when we are in Kali Yuga, we have to perform Nama Sankirtan in order to achieve our goal. Chari yoge chari dharma rakhishiti tale swadharma sthapiya prabhu nijasthana chale. So what Mahaprabhu is saying, that actually Krishna, he incarnates Chari yoga, in 4 yoga, he comes and he established 4 dharma, the 4 religious principles in 4 different ages. And then after Swadharma, his own Nija Dharma, his own religious principle, once he established Thapiya, when he established Prabhu Nijasthana Chale, he wind off his pastimes and then he returns back to his abode. So he comes for a specific reason. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavani yuge yuge. He comes for the specific reason. And what are those 3 specific reasons described in Bhagavad Gita? To paritranaya sadhunam, to protect his devotees, his sadhus, and vinashaya cha dushkritam, to annihilate the miscreants. And third is dharma samsthapanarthaya, to establish dharma, to establish yuga dharma. He comes, he performs his activities, and then he wind up his pastimes and go back to his eternal abode. So he comes afterward. So in this regard, after describing this, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes. He quotes about the Garga Muni, that how Garga Muni, when he came as a he was a family priest of the Yaduts, right? But he came to Vrindavan, he came to Gokul, and then he saw Krishna and Balaram. And then Nand Maharaj requested Garga Muni that you do the name-giving ceremony for these 2 children. And then Garga Muni, on request of Nand Maharaj, in the cowshed, where nobody was invited, only they were there, how he named them. He said, Ashan varnash tayohi asya grinato nyunam tanu shuklo raktas tathapita idinam krishtanam gataha. So very secretly, Garga Muni said that the son, your son will be named as Krishna. So he says your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, he has come in different colors, white, red, and yellow. And now he has appeared in a blackish color. In another Dwapar Yuga, he appeared as Lord Ramachandra in the color of Shuka, green, a parrot. All these incarnations have now assembled in Krishna. So he says, Idanim Krishnatam Gataha. All these incarnations have now come together in your son in a blackish form, and he named him as Krishna, right? So Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur, he writes the meaning of Krishna, and he says, Krishi bhu vachaka shabda, Krishir nascha nivriti vachakaha tayor aikyam param brahma krishnati abhidiyate. That the word Krish means the attractive feature, and na means to provide ananda, to give ananda, happiness, and tvai akyam, tayor akyam param brahma. And when these 2 words combine, they indicate the supreme absolute truth, that is Krishna, the all attractive one. So very in a confidential way, he named him Krishna. He didn't just say that, his name is Krishna. Like for Balaram, he says that his name is Balarama. And then he says that he's Sankarshan. He gave 2 names, but for Krishna, he gave in a hidden way, he said that his name will be Krishna. So Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur writes about the 3, how he comes in these 3 different yogas in 3 different colors. But then he says, because he has personally appeared after gathering together all his expansions, right? So we see that all his expansions together, they come in the form of Lord Shri Krishna. He is the original personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, because he has transformed all of his expansions into the blackish form, and because he's attracted everyone, his primary name is Krishna, because another meaning of Krishna is black. And we all know that he came as blackish complexion. So just as all Vedic knowledge is included within the Pranava Omkara, similarly, all the names of Vishnu are included within the name of Krishna. And all forms of Vishnu are included within the form of Krishna. All other are avatars, but our Krishna is avatari. Similarly, when we sing Tulsi Arati, we say Vrindai, Tulsi Devai, Priyaya, Keshavasya cha, Vishnu Bhakti Prada Devi, Satyavatai Namo Namaha. That Vishnu is actually Krishna. Here is the Praman, he says. Why? Because he says that all names of Vishnu are actually included within the name of Krishna. And all forms of Vishnu are also included within the forms of Krishna. So there is no debate whether you want to say Vishnu Bhakti Pradayini or Krishna Bhakti Pradayini. It's one and the same thing. Then Mahaprabhu is continuing and he is saying, Kali Yoga Dharma Haya Nama Sankirtana Chari Yoga Chari Dharma Jivera Karana. So after describing those three yugas, now Mahaprabhu is telling that the Yoga Dharma for this age of Kali is congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Kali Yoga Dharma Haya Nama Sankirtana Chari Yoga Chari Dharma Jivera Karana. The four religious principles for all the other four ages are meant for the deliverance for the conditioned souls, for Atma Sakshakar, for self-realization. These religious principles are needed in different ages, right? But Kali Yuga has this religion. What is the religion for Kali Yuga? Nama Sankirtan. The dharma of Kali Yuga, the Yuga dharma of Kali Yuga is Nama Sankirtan. Text 138. This is what we already read. Krite tadhayato Vishnu tretanam yajato make dwapare paricharanam kalau tadharati kirtanat. That whatever result was obtained in Satyuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapar Yuga by serving the Lord's lotus feet, the same is obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now somebody can say, why Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? Because it is said that Kalau Tadhari Kirtanat means just chanting Krishna name or just chanting Krishna's any name, holy name, they all are potent, right? But where it is written Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, well, it is written. This is the verse, this is the chapter, this is the book in which Mahaprabhu himself reveals with his own sweet lotus mouth that how the Yuga Dharma of this age, of Kali Yuga, is chanting the Krishna's name. And what mantra? That is Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That we will see today. Anyways, so after describing this, Mahaprabhu says, Ataiva Kali Yuga. Therefore, in this Kali Yuga, Nama Yagna Sara, the essence of religious principle is to chant name, to do Krishna's name, to chant the holy name of the Lord. Ara kono dharma kaile nahi aya para. And if one performs any other dharma except the chanting of the holy name, he will not be delivered. You know, one cannot be delivered by following any other religious principles. One has to chant congregationally. Nam Sankirtan has to be performed, right? Ratri dina naam laya khai te shuite tanara mahima vede nahi paradite. Even the Vedas are not enough, competent enough to describe the glories of one who is chanting the holy name of the Lord day and night, while sleeping and while eating. Ratri dine naam lete khai te shuite. Right? Khai te shuite yatha tatha naam le desh kal niyam nahi sarva siddhi hoy. That one should keep on chanting this holy name of Lord Shri Krishna, Khaite Shuete, whether one is eating or whether one is in sleeping. Now, somebody can say, how can we chant in sleeping? No, if time permits, I can show you that how we can chant while sleeping also by following the footsteps of our acharyas. But till now, let's focus on this because time is limited. Ratri Dina Namalay, that one should chant this holy name day and night. And a person who is chanting, the Vedas also feel incompetent in describing the glories of such a person. So those in this world are who desire to please the Supreme Lord by constantly chanting the holy names of the Lord while performing their daily activities are glorified by the Vedic literatures as liberated souls because they are attached to always remembering the Lord day and night. Khaite shuite jatha tatha naam le desh kal niyam nahi. There is no niyam of desh kal, of time, place, circumstances. There is no niyam. Just sarva siddhi. One should keep on chanting and it is one will be liberated. right? So the glories of those who are engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord are beyond the topics of the Vedas. Though the Vedas established, what is the essence of the Vedas? Is to know Krishna, right? But those who are already engaged in the chanting of the holy name, describing their glories is beyond the topics of the Vedas. Why? Because they are already situated in a very high platform. Sorry. Text 141. Shuna Mishra Mahaprabhu saying, Shuna Mishra Kali Yoge Nahi Tapa Yagna Yei Jana Bhaje Krishna Tara Mahabhagya. Please listen, dear Mishra. There is no other austerity or sacrifice prescribed in this age of Kali except Nama Sankirtan. So one should be very, very one should worship. One who worships Krishna is actually most fortunate. Though there is no one more fortunate than one who always worships Lord Hari under the shelter of the holy names. Yes, he was also chanting Krishna mantra, right? He was chanting Krishna mantra. But he was not chanting Krishna mantra by taking the shelter of the Yuga Dharma of this age. He was just chanting some Vaishnava mantra given to him by his guru. So we should, it's just like the Diksha mantras, like we do Gayatris, right? So we do have Gayatris, but if somebody says that, okay, let me just take a shelter of Gayatris and just forget chanting the holy name, well, that doesn't work, because the Gayatris are given because they act as a catalyst so that we can become more focused and more absorbed and more disciplined in chanting Krishna's name, right? Our holy names. So we should chant under the shelter of the holy names, which are non-different from Krishna. Ataiva, therefore, Grihatumi Krishna Bhajagiya Kuti Nati Parihari Ikantahaiya. And therefore, Mahaprabhu is now instructing not only Tapan Mishra, but to all of us, to all our sadhakas, he is saying, therefore, go back to your home and Krishna Bhajigiya, worship Lord Shri Krishna. How? With full attention. And Kuti Nati Parihari, and give up all kind of duplicity that you have. So how important it is. It is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Patita Pavana. He is not Kupita Pavana. Those who are Kapati Pavana, those who are having duplicit nature, well, even they cannot be liberated. Only those who are sincere souls, who are non-duplicitous, only they can be liberated. In this regard, my mentor always used to give example, and he used to give an analogy that how serious is this duplicit nature is. He says it's very easy to wake up a person who is sleeping. It's very easy. You can shake him up. You can make some sound in his ears. It's easy to wake up a person who is sleeping. But it's very difficult to wake up a person who is pretending to sleep. You see how subtle and how important this point is. It's very difficult for a person who is pretending to sleep. It's easy to wake up a person who is in deep sleep. Right? So, Kuti Nati Parihari. If we have that non-duplicitous nature in our heart, then, even Krishna Nam cannot help us. But if we are sincere, we are honest, we are non-duplicitous, then Krishna Nam can work miracles if we chant with full attention. Text 143. Sadhya sadhana tattva ye kichu sakala Hari Nama Sankirtana Mileve Sakala. And he says that Hari Nam Sankirtana, congregational chanting of the holy name, you achieve everything, including your sadhya and including your sadhana, including your sadhya, that is the goal of life, and your sadhana, that is the means for attaining it. So whenever we have this opportunity to get involved in congregational chanting of the holy name, then we should try to do it. But again, what is the warning point is niraprade namlai, that we have to chant without offenses, without having any duplicit nature. Only then this nam will work miracle. So love of Krishna is the sadhya, it is the Krishna Prem is the goal of life, and congregational chanting, the names of Krishna, is actually the sadhana, is the process to achieve that goal of life. And then Mahaprabhu says this celebrated verse, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nameva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyatha. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam. 3 times. Kalo Nastev, Nasteva, Nasteva. Again 3 times. Gatiranyatha. There is no other way, no other way, no other way, except chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name in this age of Kali Yuga. Now, this is not the fault of redundancy. It's not the Punarakti dosh, right? It's not the Punarakti dosh. Rather, it is there. It's not that we should think that the Shastras were bereft of some words and therefore it's been repeated. No, it's not the fault of redundancy. Rather, it is to stress. When anything is repeated twice or thrice in the Shastras, it is to stress that how to put emphasis that how important it is. Yes, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam. There is only the holy name of the Lord, which is important and which will help us to deliver from this age of Kali. Kalo Nasteva. There is no other way, no other way, no other way except Harer Nam. Now, then again, Tapan Mishra might ask, okay, you have been saying Hare Nam, Hare Nam. After all, what is that mantra? Just reveal that mantra. On what should I focus to? And here comes the most celebrated verse. That is Mahaprabhu himself declares and, very boldly proclaims. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sorry. So Mahaprabhu says that this is the mantra I'm talking about. Chant this mantra day and night with full attention, without any duplicit nature. Just chant this mantra and then you will know, then your sadhya, your sadhana will be revealed to you. Give me a moment. Let me drink a water, please. Yeah, sorry. Excuse me. Somehow the throat was not supported. Okay, so this is the mantra Mahaprabhu himself with his own lotus mouth. He declares. Now, this is also can be a praman. Sometimes people do argue that where it is written, where Mahaprabhu himself says that you have to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Here it is. Here is the praman, where Mahaprabhu himself says, chant this mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And not only that, Mahaprabhu gives emphasis also about what is the qualification, what are the characteristics of this verse, not qualification, but what are the characteristics of this mantra. Shloka nama bali laya maha mantra. Mahaprabhu says this shloka, that is Hare Krishna, this shloka is maha mantra. It's not an ordinary mantra. It's a maha mantra. And then he gives characteristics. What are the characteristics? Sola naam. It has 16 names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then Hare Nama. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sola, right? 16. 8 plus 8, 16. Sola Nama. Bharti Akshara means 32. Battis, right? 32 syllable. Akshara. Ha, Re, Krish, Na. Right? So this way. So it has 16 names and 32 Akshara, 8 tantra. So this is the only mantra which has 16 names and has 32 syllables. Now somebody can say, well, we can chant Radhe Sham, 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 Radhe, Radhe. It also has 16 names, but does it fit the characteristics of having 32 syllables? No. So this is the only mantra, which is Maha Mantra. Mahaprabhu himself is saying, E Shloka Nam Bali Laya Maha Mantra. 16 नाम है उसमें, and 32 अक्षरा, 32 syllables, a tantra. This verse is called the Maha Mantra. It contains 16 holy names of the Lord composed of 32 syllables. Let's read Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur writes, these 16 holy names composed of 32 syllables in the form of an address are called Maha Mantra. Mahaprabhu himself is saying, it's not that Prabhupada concocted and said, you have to chant this Maha Mantra. No, it's coming down from the lineage. It's a descending process. After Mahaprabhu, all the Shat Goswamis chanted. Our Haridas Thakur chanted this mantra. 192 rounds, 64 rounds Vachik, 64 rounds Upamshu, and 64 rounds Manasik. And all the Shat Goswamis chanted. All our acharyas in the line of parampara, they all chanted this Maha Mantra. And therefore, Prabhupada is not concocting it and saying that it's a Maha Mantra. It's coming directly from the lotus mouth of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he's proclaiming that this is called Maha Mantra. Right? So according to the process of Pancharatra, this Maha Mantra should be chanted both in japa and in loud kirtan. So even if when we are doing loud kirtan, that is Sankirtan, the congregational chanting, we should focus only on this Maha Mantra. We should not concoct our own mantra and put into it and just try to chant. We should chant this mantra only coming in parampara, in lineage, in disciplic succession. Right? For one who chants this Maha Mantra in loud kirtan, see now here is the very beautiful point. One who chants this Maha Mantra in loud kirtan, the seed of love of God sprouts within the heart by the influence of that loud kirtan. And by the progressive mercy of the holy names, that person soon become expert in the science of the goal of life, in sadhya, and in the process for attaining it. That is our sadhana. But if one's chanting is either mixed with concocted overlapping mellows, or simply for the purpose of some musical entertainment, or if one thinks that the holy name should only be chanted in japa, and one thus becomes averse to loud kirtan, then he is sure using offenses rather than love of God. So we should not be averse to loud kirtan also, because that is the yoga dharma, right? When one becomes averse to loud kirtan, then we are committing offenses and we will not get love of Godhead, which is the ultimate goal of our chanting. And then Mahaprabhu said, Sadhite sadhite yabe prema ankura be sadhya sadhana tattva jani be satabe. And then Mahaprabhu says that when you chant this 16 names of the holy names, 16 holy names, which is composed of 32 syllables, when you chant this Maha Mantra, sadhite sadhite, when you continuously chant this Maha Mantra, then prema ankura be, the seed of love of God will sprout in your heart, right? Ankur phutega, prem ka ankur phutega, like the love of God, the seed of love of God will sprout in your heart. This seed has already been sown by the spiritual master, but it has to sprout now. It has to become a plant, a sapling. How it's going to do? When we keep on chanting, which is regarded as watering the seed. Right? Our Acharya says this seed is already sown in the heart by our spiritual master, but is sown in the land, in the fertile land. If the seed is sown, is it enough? No, it has to sprout. It has to become a plant. It has to become a tree. It has to bear fruits and flowers. Right? So how it's going to sprout? When we continuously chant this Maha Mantra. Then we will understand the goal of life and the process of achieving this goal of life. Prabhura Shri Mukha Shiksha Shuni Vipravara Punha Punha Pranama Karaya Bhavtara. After hearing these beautiful instructions from the lotus mouth of Nivai Pandit, then Tapan Mishra, who is the best of the Brahmanas, Vipravara, then he repeatedly offered his obeisances to the Lord. So he was very happy because now he got answer to his question, right? So we'll stop here. Thank you all so much. I took 11 minutes extra, but as I already told that today I want to cover these beautiful verses. So sorry for that. But thank you all so much for joining. We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Maha Mantra Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai.
Jai. Jai. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. What a
Fantastic.
beautiful class. Talking about sadhya, sadhana, the glories of Mahamantra. Really beautiful, Mataji. And the way you talk, it just reaches the heart, and hope it purifies my heart too, if at least a little. Thank you so much, Mataji. And Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Thank you, Chinmay Mataji. Actually, it is coming directly from Mahaprabhu. So when it comes directly from the lotus mouth of our Supreme Lord, then definitely it's going to work. Right? Yeah.
Mataji. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mataji, you took us to Chaitanya Loka actually.
Hare Krishna,
You took
Prabhuji.
us to place where Mahaprabhu is there. Hello, Chaitanya Loka. I straight away to
It's
the
your sincerity, Prabhu. It's your sincerity.
wonderful. Wonderful, Mataji, wonderful. So nice.
Thank you,
Thank you
Prabhu.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The blessings coming from a Varishta Vaishnava like you is really, I feel myself, aho bhagya, aho bhagya. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, Anita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams.
Dandavat
Very
Pranams.
nice, Mataji. Today's class, it was fully chant, chant, chant. I just remember Prabhupada saying, we say to people chant, 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 but people say can't. I just remembered that. And Mataji, initially, like you were saying, from the verses, it was said that we cannot have one leg on material and one leg in spiritual, right? So if we have on the material path, then there will be a fall down. So that was one point which you made. But still I'm saying for myself, I'm so conditioned, and I'm in this material family, children, everyone is there. So the full-fledged in spiritual path, it's not possible for me to come, Mataji. So how can I understand this, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. So I asked this question from my mentor, from my Shiksha Guru, and he's very straightforward. He gives a very blunt answers that sometimes, it really affects. But when I asked this question, was in my initial years of Krishna consciousness, he was guiding us. He was the one who was guiding us, because of which we are what we are today. So I also asked the same question, and he said, what's stopping you? That's the only thing he said. What's stopping you to lift up your leg from that material boat and place it on the spiritual boat? Then I said, I have a family, my husband, my children, they are not into, my husband was not into Krishna conscious at that time. And, I am all by myself. And he said, so what? Does it really matter? You have to uplift your consciousness. See, I'm not telling this to you, Mataji. This is what he told me. So I'm paraphrasing his words. He said,
Mataji, it's like saying to me only.
No, don't take it otherwise. What he said, I'm paraphrasing. And he said, you have to lift your consciousness. You have to do taking Krishna in the center. You have to serve your husband, thinking that he is Krishna's devotee. You have to take care of your children, thinking that it's Krishna's devotee. Automatically, your leg from material boat is onto your spiritual boat. Apart from this, what extra you have to do is don't indulge into material activities, so-called material activities like illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, watching Bollywood music, seeing Bollywood, pictures, movies, making these materialistic friends. Avoid all this. Then what's stopping you? Nothing is stopping you. Make sure you eat Krishna Prasadam. Make sure you don't eat outside. Make sure you feed Krishna Prasadam to your husband, to your children. Everything becomes Krishna conscious. So it's just a matter of consciousness. Activities will be the same. So that's what he told me. So the first sentence he told, I still remember, he said, what's stopping you? Nobody is stopping you. You yourself is stopping. Like the example Prabhupada used to give. A man goes and hugs a tree and he say, "Oh tree, please leave me, leave me. Hey, come on, the tree is not holding you. You are holding on to the tree. Just leave it and you'll be free." No, but we are holding to that material boat and thinking that material boat is not leaving us. No, we are stuck to that material boat. We are thinking everything is material. Even if we are doing 9 to 5 jobs, so what? Consider it that we are doing it for Krishna. We are doing it for Krishna's devotees. Yad karoshi yad agnashi. That's what Krishna says. On the initial level, whatever we do, give it to Krishna, do it for Krishna, keep Krishna in the center. Automatically your leg will be, uplifted from the material boat and will be placed in the spiritual world, spiritual boat. So that's what he told me. So I just paraphrased and I told you, I'm still, not achieved on that level, still struggling, but this is what he told me. So I just said as it is.
So nice. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving such a wonderful reply, which your Guru Maharaj has told you. So it's really helpful, Mataji. Very nice. The statement is like, what is stopping you? So that is a question which I have to ask to myself also. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Actually, there is nothing material. And if it is material, just spiritualize it. Just like he always used to give example. My Shiksha Guru always used to give an example. When you buy an apple from a market, that apple is what? It's made up of a gross matter, right? And it's a fruit. It's a matter. But the moment you bring that apple and wash it and with wholeheartedly offer it to Krishna, the same matter has become spiritualized now, because now it has become prasadam. And when you honor that prasadam, it's a service, it's a devotional service. So the same matter can be spiritualized. So whatever we see as material, we have to spiritualize it by bringing Krishna in the center. And all those material things, when we bring Krishna in the center, will become spiritualized. So automatically it will become spiritual life.
Thank you, Mataji. So nice, so lovely. Hari Bol. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Any other devotees asking questions?
Krishna, Kirtida Mataji, thank you so much for covering this most important section, and especially the Mahamantra as it is being told in the Chaitanya Bhagavata. So thank you for that. Sorry I was unable to hear fully, but whatever I heard, I'm very thankful. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Preeti Vilasthi Mataji, for this opportunity and for always guiding me. I took the guidance from you that, should I cover these verses, and with your heads up, I was able to do it. So thank you so much.
Guidance comes from you, Mataji, not from me, never.
I just now in the class, I told it's a descending process, right? So it has to descend. It's not an ascending process. So thank you so much.
Jai Gurudev.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Sita Preeti Mataji.
So nice, Mataji. It's like, these things we know, but when a pure soul like you keeps on telling it, like, when it is coming from you all, it makes such a big impact that you understand where you exactly lie and how much more changes and how many more, that dedication which you need for your spiritual life. And I think this is what is association. I feel like we know things, but when it is in association, it keeps on, it keeps on coming to us over and over again. And it's not a repetition for sure, but it is just an eye opener every time, because every day we make so many mistakes. And when there is someone telling you, like, at least I know you are saying, you will say that this is for my purification, but trust me, this is for us all. Like, at least for me, this class was really, really, really wonderful, Mataji. And you talk from, like, from your heart, like you speak. You're such a wonderful, wonderful devotee, Mataji. At least, like, at least if one fraction of your devotion, if we can get, I can get, it would be, it would be a great thing for me. I pray at the lotus feet of the Lord that somewhere, some fraction of that devotion I can get someday. Thank you,
No,
Mataji, for the wonderful class.
I accept all your words, pass on to my spiritual master. But one thing I would like to confess, that the real life is different from real life. So here I'm on real. So you spend
No,
some
Mataji.
days with me, then you will come to know my real life. So
No,
very,
Mataji.
very duplicitous at heart, Mataji. I'm very, very duplicitous. I really have to work on it. But I know with the association of all of your wonderful Vaishnavas, one day, I have that assurance that one day definitely that duplicitous nature will go away from my heart. But seriously, this is a confession that real life is different from real life. So what you see on real is altogether different. But yes, as you said, that whatever, heart transformation words that you felt today is definitely credit to Gurudev, definitely credit to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Srila Prabhupada, because no words were mine. Everything was coming directly from the purports of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and of course from the works of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and the purports of Srila Prabhupada. So all credit to all our senior acharyas, in whose school we are just a student studying and struggling hard to achieve. But thank you, Mataji. Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Okay, anything else? Okay, if you give me 2 minutes, I'd like to share one thing. I was telling, right, that somebody can ask that how in Sapna, in sleep also we can remember Radha and Krishna. Remember, I said if time permits, I don't want to hold on to you. If you all want to leave, you are more than welcome. But I just want to share, just show one bhajan. See, I myself is forgetting now. It's by Maharaj. Yeah. Again, I don't want to hold on to everyone. If you all want to leave, you can leave, more than welcome. But this is what I want to share. Very, very beautiful bhajan by Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Actually, he wrote this just one bhajan. And in that he describes Kothai go prema mai radhe radhe. So, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is telling, and that Kothai go prema mai radhe radhe. Where are you, my prema mai radhe radhe. Radhe radhe go jai radhe radhe. Then he says, Dekhai diye prana rakha radhe radhe. Just show me your darshan, because when I'll see your darshan, I'll be able to maintain my life. And Srimati Radharani may say, well, who are you who is calling on me? Then he says, Tomhar Kangal, Tomhar Dake. Dake means calling out. So Tomhar Kangal, I am your beggar who is calling out your name, O Radhe Radhe. Then he goes on explaining the meaning, the different names of Radharani. Radha Vrindavan Vilasini, Radha Kanu Mona Mohini. Kanu means Krishna, Krishna Manamohini. Ashta Sakhi Shiromani, Vrishabhanu Nandini. And then he says Gosai. So Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is now glorifying Raghunath Das Goswami. And he's saying, Niyam kare sadai dake. With Niyam, Gosai means Raghunath Das Goswami would call out the name and would say Radhe Radhe. And then he says he will go to Keshi Ghat, he will go to Vamsi Bhat, he will go to Nidhuvane, he will go to Kunjavane, and he will be just, Gosai would be calling out Radhe Radhe. And with Niyam, with full Niyam, he used to go to these places. Sometimes he will go to Radha Kund, sometimes he will go to Sham Kund, sometimes to Kusumvan, sometimes to Govardhan. And every time he'll call out Radhe Radhe. Sometimes he'll go to Talvan, Tamalvan. Then he will roll on the dust on the grounds of Vrindavan, at the Vrajraj, he'll roll down. And Malina Vasanadiya, his whole clothes will be maleen, will be dirty from those. But Dhulai Gadi Gadi Jai, but he'll keep on rolling on the dust of Vrindavan and he'll be calling out Radhe Radhe. Mukhe Radhe Bole, Nayana Jhale, and while crying also he'll just say Radhe Radhe. Then he says, Chappan Danda Ratri Dine. So we all know Chappan Danda means 56. Danda means 24 minutes. So 24 minutes makes one danda. So 24 minutes makes one danda, and we have 24 hours in one day. So in one day, we have 60 dandas. So out of those 60 dandas, he's saying, Gosai, Chappan danda, 56 dandas means 22.5 hours, he would Ratri Dine, day night, he would chant Radhe Radhe. Why? Because Jane na Radha Govinda Vine, because Gosai, our Raghunath Das Goswami, doesn't know anyone except Radha Govinda, and he would chant Radhe Radhe. But then somebody can ask what he will do in those 1.5 hours, because Chappan Danda, still 4 dandas are left. Tare para chari dande stuti thake. That 4 dandas that are left, that also he'll do stuti. Swapne Radha Govinda dekhe. Because when he will sleep, he will dream of Radha Govinda. So that way, Ratri Dine, Khaite Shuite, Sote ve bhi, like even if we are sleeping, Swapne dekhe Radha Govinda, Radhe Radhe. So Gosai, even in that 1.5 hours that he'll sleep, he will just chant Radharani's name and he'll be always absorbed in his thoughts. So that, I was thinking that how beautiful it is and how beautifully this path is being laid down by our acharyas, where we just have to follow their footsteps. Of course, we cannot imitate them. It's not about imitating them, that we also tomorrow go to Vrindavan and go and just call out Radharani. We don't have that adhikar, that eligibility, but following their footsteps, and having that high aspirations is what all we can always have. Okay, so
Mataji, what are you related? It actually happened in Chennai. One of our godbrother, he's 82-year-old, Sundareshwar Krishna Das. He's chanting every day 206 rounds. 206 rounds. Gets up in the night at 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock, 64 rounds. Then 1 hour gap, 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 64 rounds. 1 hour gap, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 64 rounds. 192 round by 9 o'clock is over. Then 9 to 11, balance 206 rounds. And 11 o'clock he sleeps, not getting sleep. When it'll become 1 o'clock, she's waiting because no sleep. Eating also, he's getting honey in the mouth. He's seeing full Gaur Leela, everything he's seeing in the eyes while chanting. So he's doing for 6-7 years, and Guru Maharaj is so happy that his health has become improved because this one person is chanting 206 rounds. I went to his house. I chanted 108 rounds. I could not do 206. I slept. But I went and tested. Yeah.
Just by association, we can chant that much number of rounds. This is what is sadhu sangha. And Vrindavan is full of such sadhus. There are so many sadhus who are day and night, chanting. For us, it looks like that they are beggars on street, but they are not the beggars. They are Vrajavasis. They are totally absorbed in chanting. So, we should be very, very careful. And Vrindavan is full of such sadhus. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
This song is really true, coming true. This song, what you told, is coming true. While 11 o'clock he sleeps, no, Damodar Leela is coming and waking him up. Get up, it's already 1 o'clock. So he's not sleeping.
Yeah.
What you said is correct.
Go premamai Radhe Radhe. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Mother. Wonderful song, wonderful class.
Okay, so Chinmay Rajapriya Mataji, you can take over now.
Thank you, Mataji. Very, very instructive class to someone like me who's so much of a neophyte. It was a very instructive class, and the last Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj's song was also very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. And with your permission, if nobody has any more questions, we'll end the call here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavabhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Chaitanya Bhagavan Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Our grace, Kirtida ji ki jai.
Gaura
Jai.
Bhatta ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
Jai.
ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Gauranga, Nityananda, Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Nityananda. Nityananda.
Nityananda.
Gauranga.
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 Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you. Wonderful.